Well, good evening and welcome to our Year 7 information evening. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mr. Holmwood and it's my pleasure to be the head teacher here at Shenley Brook End School. I had very much hoped to be welcoming you in person this evening because we haven't had the chance to meet properly as yet, but unfortunately we've been asked to keep you from visiting the building this evening while we review the situation with Public Health England in terms of COVID, and you'll be communicated to about that over the next few hours by email. But for now, I'm here in my office. I've got Mrs. Wright with me, our assistant head teacher, and Mr. McCluskey, who's also recorded some messages as part of this presentation. Mr. McCluskey is deputy head teacher. So tonight we're looking at how you can support your child's learning. And to be honest, if ever there was a generation of parents more experts in supporting their child's learning at home and also in school, I really can't imagine, because everything that you've done over the last 18 months or so, both at home and within school, has been a real tribute to the way that you work in partnership with your schools. And I'm aware that we have here a year group that haven't really had a proper year at school since they were in year 4. And we're really excited about working with them, getting to know them, and making sure they have a great experience at Shenley Brook End School. Now, I'm just going to introduce you to our wonderful Year 7 tutor team, and hopefully if your students, or our students, your children, are watching this from home, they can point out the person that they spend their most time with, their form tutor, and the support that they get. And we're very fortunate to have a really experienced and caring Year 7 tutor team who are enjoying getting to know your children and working with them and supporting. And that's because we have a strong belief in what we nickname BBB here at Shenley Brook End School. We talk about belong, believe, become. We want your students to feel that they belong here at Shenley Brook End School. We want to encourage them to believe in themselves and know that we believe in them. And finally, we want them to know, and you as families to know, that we are passionate about who they become. I'm always saying that a young person's qualities are as important as their qualifications, and a very important part of being a member of Shenley Brook End School community is to live up to that.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Wright and I am Assistant Head Teacher in charge of curriculum here at Shenley Brook End School. The first thing I wanted to talk to you about is how varied our curriculum is for your child in Year 7 and how varied it will be as they go through the school throughout their Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5. So we follow a 2-week timetable here at SBE, and your child may be in their form group for lessons, or they might be put into a mixed ability set or an ability set. So on the screen at the moment, I've got a selection of the lessons that they will undertake on a 2-week rotation, looking at English, maths, languages, science, DT, PE, art, history, music, drama, ICT, RE, geography, and life skills. So you can see that they have, some lessons will have more lessons a fortnight than others, but actually what we're trying to do is give them a really rich variety, a mixture of experiences within their lesson settings. Now, we have a fundamental assessment criteria here at Shenley Brook End School called ASK, Ask way that we report to you as well. So the ASK is our attitudes, our skills and our knowledge, and it's completely bespoke to Shenley Brook End School. We've really worked on this over the last few years and kind of honed it so that hopefully students use this as a language as they go through Shenley Brook End School, but also teachers will use this as a real language for learning throughout their lesson. Now, the attitudes that we would like your child to develop here at Shenley are the badges. So as you know, your Year 7 student will have their tie with a badger on, and the badger is indeed our Shenley logo, and we want them to be just a little bit more badger. So the qualities that we are looking for is for them to be respectful, to be on time, to be dressed correctly, to get ready to learn, to engage and listen, to respond, and to succeed in all that they do. The badges they will be really rewarded for meeting these expectations on a day-to-day basis. And actually it's these types of life skills that your children will learn, which will really prepare them for the world of work after they finish school. We also have another acronym, our Tensile, which is our framework for the skills that your students will develop, and the skills will run through all of the different lessons that your child does on a day-to-day basis. Tensile actually stands for teamwork, expression, numeracy, solving problems, independence, literacy, and inquiry. And you may find that certain lessons will have a particular focus on teamwork, and then that would be an assessed aspect of that lesson, or it might be expression. And these types of words will become more and more explicit to your children as they understand the Tensile framework as they go through school. We've got the 4 ways that we report to you, which would be bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And again, that would be to do with all of the different criteria on the skills, and then also the knowledge. Now, the knowledge is different for every lesson that they will go to. And on the screen at the moment, I have got one from the English department. So you can see how going from the bronze, the launching, all the way up to the platinum, it becomes a little bit more in depth and a little bit more detailed. So it's going through kind of, I suppose, a base level of knowledge as they then go through to a much higher in-depth knowledge. And these will be made available to you and to your child, either in lessons, but they are on the website. So if you did want to have a look at the subject areas on the website, you'll be able to look at the skills and the knowledge that the children are being assessed on in each lesson as we go through each term. Now, we also have on the website for you to have a look at as our curriculum maps. Now, the curriculum maps will take you through almost like a journey throughout the whole of Year 7. We've got all the way up to Year 11. Each department has mapped out on their curriculum maps what students will be learning at a particular moment in time throughout the year. And on there as well will be their tensile skills that they should be learning, and also homework is quite often mapped on those as well. So again, those are on the website if you wanted to have a look at, but they're more kind of medium-term plans. So here's one that you may have seen if you've already had a little peruse around the website. So this one here is for the art department, and you can see how actually we've got the learning module, what they need to do to succeed. So it gives you a bit of an overview as to what your children will be learning in each lesson as they go through each subject. We then have our longer term plans, which is the curriculum journey, and you can see how on here it kind of snakes from Year 7 through Year 8 into Year 9, into Year 10 and into Year 11. And actually each part then should show your child what they are learning and how their course will develop. So you'll see that some projects that they do in Year 7 will become more in depth in Year 8, and skills will be revisited and built upon. So I've got a bit of a zoomed in version for you. So you can see here for Year 7, and again this is an English one, we've got the transition text Wonder by R.J. Palacio, would move into A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and then as you can see it goes through into Year 8. So it gives them quite a good overview as to what perhaps they've done, what skills they've learned, and then what they would then develop as they go through the school. These are currently being worked on and updated by team leaders, so they will be available on the school website quite shortly. Now, home learning, we do expect your child to participate in homework, and homework is there to really develop their skills and knowledge at home independently. It could be such a simple thing as collecting some images for a lesson. They could be asked to watch a TV show or to write a review of a film. It could be to collect sources, it could be to bring in ingredients, or even as much as to attend an extracurricular club for PE. So the homework will vary depending on what subject it is, and again, it will vary depending on what they're being asked to do to prepare for lessons. If you feel that your child would like to do some additional learning at home, there is also some home learning booklets that all of the different department areas are put together, and these are a range of different activities that your child could decide to participate in an independent way and then bring in to show their subject teacher. And of course there will be recognition for this, and again they are on the website under the home learning aspect of it. So the one on there at the moment is the history, so it's just got a range of topics that they could do as an additional to really support and build on and develop their learning that they would be learning in class. So This year I want to talk to you about your awards and rewards. So you may have already heard your child come home and kind of tell you they've been awarded some flight miles. Now flight miles are almost like merit points that students are awarded for going kind of above and beyond in a lesson. So it might be that they put on some really extra effort, that they've really tried their hardest. That might be because they've been really polite to a member of staff. It could be for an excellent piece of artwork or an excellent piece of English work. So up to 3 a lesson can be given out per student. So what we're really trying to encourage is the students to engage with the lessons and really kind of buy into their learning. Now we also have reward postcards, and as teaching staff we are not given many of these each term to give out. So if your child comes home with a reward postcard, they have really impressed their teacher. They are given to the students who have gone absolutely the extra mile during the school day. So again, it could be for consistently working hard, and actually that teacher has recognised that, you know, your child has always done a really great job in the lesson. They've always listened actively, answered questions, completed work to the best of their ability. So I think as teaching staff, we get 10 a term. So they are like gold dust. So if your child comes home, you know, fantastic for them. They can be cashed in each Monday for 10 flight miles from their form tutor. They just need to show their form tutor that they've got this postcard, and it should be signed by you as well, so that you are aware that they have received that at home. We're also having a big push on the badge expectations. So students who consistently meet the badge expectations will be rewarded. And again, those are things like being on time to lessons, being prepared, actively listening. So in a week, we might decide, you know, on a Monday, we're going to have a push and we want you to give students, everybody that's on time to a lesson, a badger point. And then a teacher will stamp inside your child's learning passport. But I'll come on to that in just a moment. And again, if that grid is filled up, then they get an extra 10 flight miles on a Monday from their tutor. So flight miles can soon quickly add up. We have another initiative called a positive on call. So we have a fantastic team of teachers who, during sessions in the day, are, as we call, the on-call staff. So if there is an issue or a problem, that member of staff would be called, but they can also be called for positive reasons. So again, if a student goes above and beyond and the teacher is really impressed with what that student has done, they will raise a positive on call to show that member of staff what they've accomplished in that lesson. The on-call member of staff will come with a scratch card where your child will be asked, you know, to scratch almost like a, I suppose, a lottery scratch card, one of the boxes away, and they could either win a range of flight miles, it could be a voucher for somewhere, or it could be a stationery kit. So those are all ready to go as well. And again, we're trying to really instill in students, you know, to really be quite focused and to put in the extra mile, I suppose, put the extra effort in. And then we also have golden time, and then this is for a small number of students who consistently show great attitude each term, and that will be evidenced by the amount of flight miles that they've been given. So we only offer this to a small number of students, and then they are given an afternoon off timetable where they're asked to do something a little bit different, something that isn't necessarily on the school curriculum. So it could be something like watching a film with popcorn, or it could be having maybe an Xbox afternoon. So again, that's quite dependent on what the students would like to do, but that's given to our kind of really high earning flight mile students. So on the screen at the moment is what a learning passport will look like, and hopefully when your child came home last week you had a good old look at one of these anyway. So these pages here are what our weekly pages would look like, and they should be recording any home learning in their learning passport, and then the home learning would also be recorded on Microsoft Teams. Now on the right hand side, you've got a little box there that says consistently meeting badger expectations, and this is where your child would receive a stamp from the teaching staff or support staff where they have consistently met one of the badger expectations within their lesson. And as I said, it could be to be respectful, or to engage and listen, or to respond in a certain way. If they can get 80% of that grid filled out, then what you will then find is they will then get that 10 extra flight miles in their form time on that next Monday. Below that, we've got a consequences bar, And please monitor this. So if your students are perhaps not meeting our expectations, they may get a consequence, which may be an M1, an N2, an N3 or an X1, and they range in severity from an M1 all the way up to an X1, and then the teacher will initial underneath it. And that's a really good opportunity for you to have a conversation with your child at home if you haven't already received a phone call. And then, of course, then if there is a consequence, then there's likely going to be a consequence in school as well. But the vast majority of our students actually go through week after week after week with never having anything written in the consequences box. What we would appreciate for you to do is to have a look at their learning passport on quite a regular basis, if you know, at least weekly, if not more so, and at the end of the weekend or perhaps on a Friday evening, for you to have a look and to sign the learning passport to make sure that you are aware of the homework that's been set. If you haven't already had that notification, you can have a look at the badger expectations that have been met. You can have a look and see whether any consequence has been set. And it's just a really good opportunity for you to talk to your child about how their week at school has gone. Okay, so the flight mile tariffs, and again, as I said, students can be awarded these for brilliant homework or classwork or showing that they've developed in a skill. It could be for their tensile skills, it could be for their badger expectations. So we get a bronze award, a silver award, a gold award and a platinum award, and you can see that they are awarded at regular intervals. So a bronze at 150 flight miles, a silver at 250 flight miles, a gold at 300 flight miles, and a platinum at 400 flight miles. As a bit of a, I suppose, a carrot to dangle in front of your child this year, what we are hoping them to do is to achieve 400 flight miles, and then there is an opportunity to go on a school trip at the end of the year. And I think at the moment the year leaders and progress leaders are kind of deciding what theme parks those trips will be offered to. There is a condition, however, that there are to be no more than 10 negative points to be able to go on that visit. So students really are looking at kind of just over 10 flight miles a week in order to meet that 400 flight miles. Okay. So I think what makes Shenley really special is the amount of students who really buy into making Shenley what Shenley is. And actually we wouldn't be Shenley without the students who really do take the most of the opportunities that are offered here. And part of that is also the teachers who give up their additional time to make sure that extracurricular learning and extended learning can happen for them. And it's something that pre-COVID we were doing absolutely brilliantly, and we are so looking forward to get all of these types of things up off of the ground and running again. So as your child goes through Shenley, they may decide to take the opportunity to become part of an extracurricular club. And Mrs. Pearson or Miss Pearson at the moment is working on a timetable which will be launched after the October half term. And there are a whole variety of different clubs on there, run by lots and lots of different members of school. As well as at the moment, the music department have already got their extracurricular club timetable published, and so have the PE team. So there are already some extracurricular clubs running at the moment. We also have Student Voice, and as we go through this half term, Student Voice will be an option for your child. And actually, it's a really good opportunity to be part of shaping the future of the school. So students would be asked to be kind of form time representatives or to be a representative for their year group. And then they would meet with the cabinet and the older students to decide, you know, are they happy with different aspects of Shenley? How can they maybe organise events or make things as they want to be, you know, just to make the school their own. We've also got the sixth form cabinet and also the school council, and these things are a really great way to become part of the future of Shenley Brook End School. We run the Duke of Edinburgh Award at a bronze, a silver and a gold level, and actually these again are really great for teamwork, they're really great for communication, all of those types of tensile skills that I was talking about earlier. We have sports leaders, we have diversity and equality leaders, we have an arts award, so we run that again at bronze, silver and gold levels, and as well as they go throughout the year and into year 8 and beyond, there'll be lots of trips and on-school events for them to partake in as well. Now, The date on here is quite out of date, as I said. It's from autumn term 2008, and actually, as I just mentioned, we had to stop a lot of our extracurricular activities when COVID hit. And I think that not only were the students really disappointed, but the staff were really quite upset by this as well. So we are having a really big relaunch after the October half term, COVID permitting. So I would really encourage your son or daughter to become involved in at least an extracurricular club a week. There will be things such as creative writing, or there might be a reading club, or there may be an arts and crafts club they would like to go to, or a sport club, or a music club. It's a really great opportunity for your child to make friends outside of their form group area. It's a really good opportunity for them to develop other kind of skills, communication skills, artistic skills, writing skills. It's, you know, something that I really would like Year 7 to really take advantage of. One of the extracurricular performances that's going to be coming up is Dig It. Now, Dig It is being run by the music department, and your son or daughter may already have told you that in their music lessons they are already putting together the Dig It performance. They are also rehearsing after school, and the Dig It performance is scheduled on the calendar to be on the 20th and the 21st of October. Now, we couldn't run this last year because of COVID, so actually this is going to be a joint performance between Year 7 and 8 this year. It's always really an amazing celebration of the students coming together, and the amount of students that actually involve themselves in it is a real testament, I think, to what Shenley is all about. It's a really creative opportunity for your child. Okay, and then I'm going to leave you with Mr. McCluskey, and as I switch off from here, you'll see a little speaker button in the corner. If you wanted to click on the little speaker button as he goes through the slides, he's going to talk to you about some of the computer packages that we've got here at Shenley. Thank you very much.
Some of the information we have on there is to do with their reports. So you've already heard a little bit about ASK already today. So you may get some information on there in terms of reports that gives you something about attitudes, skills and knowledge and where they're working at. In terms of the timetable, there is a section on there which shows you not only the day's timetable like we've got on that second row there, but also the fact that you can click on there and see the full full week timetable, and then scroll through the weeks to see the other weeks. You've also got access to what we call detailed progress, and that detailed progress is for each subject. You get to see where they're working in terms of their attitudes, skills and knowledge, any grades for assessments and various other things like that. Also on there is information regarding attendance and behaviour, so you can track the percentage attendance, but also if there are instances where there is an unauthorised absence, you can contact school to try and sort that out, because obviously we would prefer that all of the absences were authorised, and I'm sure you would too. We've got information about behaviour, so if any behaviour points in terms of negative behaviour points are put on, you can see that through viewing the full behaviour record. Equally, you can click that to view to see information about flight miles awarded as well. We would always suggest that you check Go4 Schools regularly to note any changes in behaviour, and we'd also say that it's really important that you go to Go4 Schools to see when there's a report around what assessments have taken place and how they were getting on in school. Now, if you have trouble getting on to Go4 Schools using what I explained earlier, then please email Mrs. Tier, that's stier@sbeschool.org.uk. So the second thing I'm going to talk to you about is regarding students' access to Office 365. Now, Office 365 is all of the suite of apps that Microsoft Office offers. So you've got your Word, Excel, etc., etc. All of those are available for free through office.com. So they can download those onto a desktop or laptop at home and then they can use it with their own logins from school. The key ones for the time being are basically Outlook and Teams. To access those, they would go to www.office.com. Their login will be their surname, so in this case, in this example, Smith, J, which is the initial of the first name, .21, which is the year that they were in, have been admitted to school. So all of year 7 will be .21, and that's at sbeschool.org.uk. The password is still the school network password. So as I say, the two apps that the students need to become familiar with is Outlook, that's so that they can check their emails to make sure there's nothing been sent from school. Equally, Teams is going to be the main place where we're going to set assignments. Now we are going to speak to the students a little bit more about that, but as homework and assignments start to go onto Teams, you will start to receive an email from Microsoft explaining what tasks have been set, and then the students will need to log on to Teams to see what they need to do. Thank you very much for listening.
So a big thank you to Mrs. Wright and to Mr. McCluskey for taking us through all of that, and I hope that's useful and interesting for you to know. I'm back in my chair again and just coming to the end of this presentation. Thought you'd like to see this photograph, which was taken a few years ago when we finished the extension to our school building, an extension designed to welcome our larger year groups of 300, of which your child is now part. As you can see, when you look at the school from the air, it's a huge place. It accommodates over 1,800 students and has a number of fantastic facilities which we're very, very pleased with and which have been improved over the summer. And we look forward to your students, our students, your children, making the most of those going forward. It's a reminder to me that the school's always changing and always growing. And as someone who joined the school in 1997, when it had 114 12-year-olds, to walk around it these days, as you can imagine, is quite something. But what is really something is the kind of education that we want to offer our young people. And when people ask me what I hope for from an experience of a student here at Shenley, I always say it's the experience of what I would call a holistic education. It's an education that shapes a young person in every sense. And so the social, the moral, the cultural, the physical, the spiritual, the vocational are as important and in fact feed into the academic progress and achievement the young people can make here. And we very much look forward to working with them and you in support of that vision. And as part of that, we are the co-founding school of the Five Dimensions Trust with the Hazley Academy. We've been in that relationship since September 2018, although we worked in close partnership for a few years before then. And that really enhances what we can provide to the young people both at Shenley and Hazley. And I work very, very closely with Mr. Nelson, who's the principal at the Hazley Academy, to make sure that that supports both schools. And you'll hear more about the trust as your children go through the school. Now, just a polite request from me. I'm going to finish on quite a kind of functional note. I've been very concerned since the start of term about the volume of traffic that we've had, much more so than we normally have. And I'm sure there are all kinds of reasons for that, but just a plea from me. If you need to drop your child off at school, could you consider dropping them off a few minutes away to reduce the congestion around the school and around the school car park, which is increasingly concerning to me. I know from the applications and admissions data that the majority of our students live within a mile of the school. So I would encourage them to either walk or cycle to school as often as possible. If you really do need to drop your children off, can I just ask that you consider one of these places? Westcroft Car Park is about 5 minutes away, and they can walk over the footpath and the Redway and the bridge in order to get to the school. Or at Emerson Valley, Pickering Drive or Wenning Lane, that's about 5 minutes walk away. There's a good pathway under the main road that you can consider using. Or anywhere along Wallinger Drive. If you enter Wallinger Drive from Shafram Way, and you can then go and exit by going past the school, going out of the estate past the school rather than going into the estate next to the school. So just a small plea, but a very important one, as it's really important that all of our students and staff can get safely to school. So anything you can do to help with that would be much appreciated. Many thanks for considering that as we look to making our school community a safe place. And just going to finish on something that's a little bit of a brighter note, just how we're looking forward to engaging with you, with families over the coming year, through things like the Dig It performance in October, through the tutor evenings and through the progress check in November, through the parents evening in May, and a final progress check in June, making sure that you're aware of where children are doing really well, and also where they need that bit more support and focus. So, once again, a real shame that we've not been able to do this in person, and I do look forward to meeting you properly later in the year. And for now, thank you very, very much for watching and for listening, and we hope that that's really helped you get a sense of everything that's on offer for your child this year. Thank you.